totally want to hear. So tell us all about Colombia. Why'd you go? What were you there for? What happened?
Okay, yeah, Colombia. Okay, so my friend Brian is he's into like plant medicine and stuff, and he's been telling me that I need to come down, and he's living there now, and he kept on telling me that I need to come down and try this Judema. It's like a kind of Jurdema. It sounds like he's saying Judema when he talks, but then he always tells me there's no D in it, and I don't know what he's really saying because he's using some accent when he talks about it. So it's like Jurdema or something. Anyway, it's like ayahuasca. It's like this one of the same components of ayahuasca, but then another tree root. It's a DMT like experience that you have. And so I was like, okay, and I've wanted to try ayahuasca for a long time. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to do that. That would be cool. But then to add some, like, what do you call it? Like sugar on the fire, or like an incentive, a cherry on top. There was like that, this shaman guy who claims that he went to Atlantis, and he was running an expedition to go to this place that is a portal into the city of Atlantis that he went to like 20 something years ago. So I actually went and did that, and then did like plant medicine and stuff as well. So, okay, let me just start by saying, like, so this place is called Manoa. That's the name of like the little mountain range, and it's very like angular. They're very they kind of look like pyramids, and it's really rough terrain. Like, to get in there, there's only these dried up riverbeds, so you can only get in there 1 month a year. So that's why you had to go in the dry season, like of March. And it's beautiful, but there's no infrastructure at all. Like, we're literally sleeping on the floor with not even a compost toilet, like nothing. The water situation was horrible. So I ended up not doing any plant ceremonies there, because like they wanted to do them in the sand pit that I kept on getting flea bites in and stuff. And I was like, I'm a little bit more of a princess than that, I guess, apparently. Yeah. There's only so much roughing it I can do before I'm just like, yeah, that's my Maslow hierarchy of needs are not being met here. So, but
I get that.
It's not that the place isn't magical, and it's not that the place isn't amazing and all that stuff. It is. It's just that the guy who was organizing the main thing just didn't have enough creature comforts or preparation really going on. And for instance, like the day that we actually hiked into the mountains, the morning he had one of those, what do you call that, where they do the sweat lodges? It's like
Temazcal.
He had a Temazcal at like 8 in the morning, and then we all went hiking at noon. Ooh, with no water for like a 6-hour hike. A boulder hike, by the way, is the hardest hike I've ever done in my life. And
holy sheesh.
Yeah, and like a kid got dehydrated and passed out and like almost died.
That's what it sounds like. I was like, I could have been that kid for real.
A lot of people, I opted out. I was like, wait, you want me to basically go into a giant sweat lodge sauna at 8 in the morning right before?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was like, yeah, no, deuces. But a lot of the, boys were like, yeah, I can do anything. And so they did, and they did not feel amazeballs. Anyway, what was I talking about with that one? Okay, so when we went up there, it was really, really cool, but like half the group left because of the kid that, got sick. And so it was just really bad. But that night, I don't know if it was that night or not. This wasn't actually in the Manoa Mountains, but it was at the foot of the Manoa Mountains where our campground was. So there was a little farmhouse that we would eat at, and then we'd take like a 10-minute walk back to our campsite. And this was like pitch black, middle of night, 100% sober. Nothing is going on. Just ate some quinoa and some water. Have a headlight on, walking single file I'm with 5 guys, or I'm the 5th one, so 4 guys. And I'm like number 4 in line. There's 1 guy behind me, 3 guys in front of me. And all of a sudden, like walking in the pitch black, I feel like something pushes my shoulder, and I hear, and I like look over with my headlamp, and there's like this white horse that has a horn. And the guy behind me like stops, and then like the one right in front of me, these two kids, they're really cool. We all three are like looking at it and going like, yeah, that's a white horse with a horn. Huh. And one's like, I think that might be called a unicorn. Like, yeah.
Oh my God.
I think that's a unicorn.
So what the horn look like? Like what was it, like a typical one that you would see?
It wasn't like you know how like some drawings it's like
really
a swirly thing that's
yes,
like
exactly.
out to there that's long. It wasn't that long. It was like, you know, like I don't know, like under a foot. Like it was like a little longer than its ears would be and pointed,
wow.
but not like.
And did it have that swirly thing?
Not it. Yeah, you know, I don't know that it did have a swirly thing, or it was more just like how like a ram's horn, or not a ram, but like a cow's horns would be, where it was like all like one smooth thing. But it was definitely like a very pointed, like white point horn there. Yeah. And it was a beautifully healthy white solid, its mane, its tail, it's everything. There was no impurities in it. It was just completely solid white. And that kind of horse was never around during the day or anything else that we saw around. Like, I mean, these horses were not like a
wild horse breed or something.
Yeah, this was like something that you would see. It was beautiful, you know. It was like some kind of like you'd see it on a movie, like it was the horse that the prince would have rode on or something. And
how far away from it was, like, after
it touched me?
Yeah.
So, and then it just sort of started grazing on grass and just slowly walking off. And, you know, I thought about like touching it again, because since it touched me, I was like, well, maybe I should touch it again. But instead and it was I didn't even have my phone. There was no reception out there. It was pointless to have my phone. And like, it was pitch black. So it wasn't like I was thinking I was going to take pictures. So I didn't even have a way to take a picture. And then also it was just like, I didn't want to disturb it either, you know, because part of me was like, oh, go touch it, you know, and then another part of me was like, I don't know, just watch it, just let it be, like, let the moment happen. So yeah, we kind of watched it until it, you know, walked off, and then we walked back to our tent. But yeah,
I mean, it's just so crazy that the three of you saw it.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get one of them on to say what they saw, how they experienced it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, what's your take on the unicorn? Like, if you had to retell that story, how would you retell that story?
All right, so basically, it was kind of like, I would say it like the sun had, like, it was kind of a little bit dusky. We were heading back to camp. I think he was in front, I was behind him, and you were behind me, and we were walking through the pasture on the way back to the camp. And so he's in the front, and we go through the gate. We go through the field, and, you know, we're looking across the field. Everything's all clear. We walking, of course, talking about how awesome Atlantis is. And then, like, I hear you turn around because I hear you get tapped, and I turn around as well. And I see, not even behind you, but like far off behind you, that like a unicorn tapped you. And I get like the awareness in that split second that, like, how could I have heard you get tapped by something that wasn't directly behind you? Like, that unicorn is across that fucking field.
I thought you were behind me. I wasn't behind you. I was in front of you. So for me to even turn around after you get touched by the unicorn is in itself like, what? How did I even know you got touched by the unicorn? I remember us like all looking at, going like, yeah, it's a white horse with a horn.
Yeah. I was like, is that a unicorn? Like, hold on.
I think horse, you were the first one to say, I think that's a unicorn, you guys.
I was like, that horse has a horn or something.
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, it does, doesn't it? You're like,
it tapped you on the shoulder.
Ears aren't that long. And we're going like, yeah. Huh. That's a unicorn.
Yeah. Because I'm just like, wait a minute, like, we were like, we would have seen that horse if it was in the field when we first crossed through the field. Like, how is the first time me seeing the horse when we turn around? Like, we would have saw it in front of us when we entered the field. Like, no, like what? We just didn't, like, no. But we see it all of a sudden.
All I know is it
turn
just
around.
like it pushes me on my shoulder and goes, and I like look with my, and I have my headlamp on my head, and I was like, oh, there's a white horse. I think I said maybe there's a white horse, or I said something. I think that's what I said. There's a white horse, and the guys were like, and you were the one who was like, I think it's a unicorn. It's got a horn.
Like, did we just see it? Yeah, like, nah, I was like, they just brushed you up. Like, hold on.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because I mean, even off rip, like, horses don't just like walk up and just nudge people. Like it was trying to talk to you, like, clearly.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, because I mean, like, we've been through there. Like, you know, those be like cows. Cows don't just come up to you. Like regular animals don't just come up to you. Like,
it came up to you. Came up to me. That was weird. That was really weird.
Yeah, like no average horse is gonna come up to you and like push you on the shoulder. So just like, hello, Mr. Unicorn. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It was definitely pretty amazing.
That was pretty amazing. That was pretty cool. But
So,
yeah.
and did you tell your guide like what you saw, and did he say, oh yeah, well, yeah, that's because they live here?
They're just like the guy was not even surprised. It's kind of like, oh well, yeah, this is like some sort of portal, like fairyland. So then fairies, talking about fairies. So this guy, another one of the gentlemen on our group, he was like this cool, older, distinguished like photographer guy, and we were at a drumming circle. This was like this, I don't know if this was the second or third night, but this was before the night that we did the big hike up to the Manoa area. Anyway, he went back to his tent a little bit early, and he thought he saw like a headlight coming from the opposite direction in which everybody was. So he kind of thought to himself, well, that's weird. I wonder who's coming from over there. But he was getting in his tent and he was like situating himself. And he said this fairy that was about a foot tall, like was like lit, like and he said it was like almost like a little bit of a blue light, but white light for the most part, but there was a little bit of blue sheen. It flies into his tent. He says it's shaped like a female figure, everything. It has like beady red eyes, which didn't really sound like humanoid eyes, and are like our eyes. And it like looks at him, and it's fluttering, and then it flies around his tent, flies off. He was like,
wow,
I have to tell you something. And I was like, what?
that is crazy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't on hallucinations.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm-mm. This is before any of that was ever done.
Wow.
Todd saw a fairy. Todd. I was like, Todd. I'm not gonna lie. My first inclinations of Todd was just like, Todd doesn't believe in any of this shit.
right. And then he
like,
saw a total fairy.
Like, wait, Todd's off. Like, I'm like, he would never joke about this. Like, he would only ever say like the truth, because like he would not be a person, I would think, to even believe in this.
Yeah.
And so for him to be like, yeah, I saw one. I'm like, what?
That's crazy. Well, it sounds like a very special, magical place. There's like a different vibration for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's Colombia's got a lot of like magical stuff about it. It's so then, you know, we ended up leaving a couple days early just because the conditions were not amazing for me. So we went to, what is the name of that town? Now that I want to know the name of the town, I won't be able to remember it. Anyway, we went to this like a town that has a big native tribe there. I think it's Saxmo or something. I can't remember. Anyway, we went to a museum there, and they have all these weird. We weren't allowed to take pictures, but I did sneak a couple in. I'll put what I did sneak in. But they had these weird elongated skulls. They weren't like the Peruvian skulls that are like the top of the head is really long, elongated. These were more like the back cranium part.
Oh yeah.
Extended out like that, and they weren't as long as the cone head ones in Peru, but they definitely are not shaped like ours. And then like even when like you could feel your forehead and stuff, like you could feel where your cranium or where your skull has like those threads.
Mm-hmm.
Their threads were completely different, and they even made some interesting little geometrical patterns. Like they had a triangle in the back of their skull here, and they had a line that separated their skull in the middle from their nose up to here. Like it's a completely different kind of humanoid.
Wow. And they just found them in
There's
the
like
area?
700 of them in,
Oh, wow.
in tombs around there. Yeah. And a lot of them they're just leaving in the tombs. But
That's
there's
so
at
cool.
least like there was at least like 10 or so that are on display in the little museum. But they were very adamant that we don't take pictures.
And how far was that town away from like where the portal
It was
was?
4 hours from the portal and about
Like
4
walking?
hours from Bogota.
Walking?
No, bus.
Oh.
So a lot further, like if it was walking, who knows how many days. But yeah, it was just crazy. Then we went to this other area, which was, so that was like, I guess, northwest of Bogota. And then we ended up going like southeast of Bogota, 2 hours into these mountains that were really, that's where I ended up doing the Jurema. And that was interesting because there's a lot of UFOs that are supposed to be known to happen. And so we ended up staying with this family, and they had so many crazy stories. Like that, like even a few nights ago, they had seen, they said it was like a dragon in the sky, but it was as if the stars started forming into the shape of a dragon, and that it was like going in waves in and out of the mountain.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
Right? I was like, what? Yeah. And they were describing how, yeah, it was a dragon made of a lot of little points of light, and that it was like flying.
Wow.
And like,
That's
it wasn't
amazing.
like one of them saw it, like 3 of them saw it collectively. And they were all describing it. I was like,
do they regularly like
they regularly see UFOs out there because it is really isolated, but that was a unique case. But then the dad of like he's an elder guy. I'm actually going to try to get him on here, and I want you to be the translator.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But he has a story that happened 6 years ago where he says that it was 6 p.m. at night, and he was home alone, and he was like working on stuff or whatever, and a man comes up the path, and this is like very hard to get to road. And he knocks on the door, and the guy opens the door, and he said it was like this really, really, really pale guy, paler than me, like super white guy with blonde hair, blue eyes, really tall. Sounds like what people describe Palladians to look like. And that he was floating just a couple inches above the air. Like, you know, his feet weren't actually touching the ground. And he was speaking Spanish to them, apparently, or to the man. And the man gave him a mango, and he took the mango seed and saved it. And then he asked him, "Hey, do you want to come for a ride?" And he said, "Yeah, I guess, sure." And so he took him. He like created a bubble around the two of them, and then they traveled interstellarly. He like took him off the planet, and he was gone for 12 hours. He got back at 6 a.m. So he went to like a couple other planets with this guy or whatever, and so he has a whole crazy story about that. And the guy says that he'll come back. But
wow.
Yeah. It was like,
kind of reminds me of like the Raphael figure, but anyway.
Yeah, a little bit.
Into the Magnificent. Yeah. And do they regularly do the plant medicine though? Does that family regularly like?
I mean, I don't know if the man who owns the house has done it before or not, because it's like an intergenerational. I think there's like the grandpa and then the kids, and then they have little kids. I mean, there's a big intergenerational amount of people living there. I don't know who's done what or what, but the people who are my age have done the plant medicine. So I'm not sure if the older ones have or not.
Oh, well, yeah, I just was wondering if it was just like a regular thing that their mind is now
Like
kind
just
of
so susceptible to that.
Yeah.
Which, okay, so then, yeah, let me talk about the Jurema. So I was really happy that I didn't have another ego death, because I only think you need one of those in a lifetime. Yeah, but I felt like it lasted about 4 hours, and you know, like at first it was kind of uncomfortable because there was like a lot of time dilation. Like things were like, whoa, like my thought patterns would start like swirling, and I couldn't identify how long things had been or how long I had been thinking on the path or not, you know, and it was kind of annoying. And then I like started purging. And then after that, it started to get like a little bit more peaceful, and I started seeing figures in the trees. And there was this one like guy, he was kind of like a hipster looking dude, and he would look at me, and sometimes his eyes would be closed, and so I would know to close my eyes, and sometimes he would look at certain people in the group, and whoever he looked at, like I just knew that I would have to like give them healing, loving energy. And so like I could see like I could see an entire grid of energy points everywhere. I could see like the fabric of the flower of life that connected everybody. Like there was like little like light threads that like were very subtle but connected everything and everybody. And
Wow.
And I could send like exaggerated light into certain people based on who the tree was telling me to look at the time. It's very weird.
So, and how did you just by thinking about it, or did you have to do something else in order to send that energy?
No, I could just think about it, and then I could see the visual of it happening.
Wow, that's great. Love it.
Yeah,
Cool.
and like I felt like I was experiencing plant consciousness. Like I felt like I knew how they experience time and how they communicate with each other. That's like what, like, I think it sort of like felt to me what was going on. It was very peaceful, great experience. And then I had to go to the bathroom, just, you know, whatever. And I went in there and there was a cockroach. And I was like, oh, don't do this to me now. Not right now. Of all times, like that's, I don't want to see a cockroach right now. And then the cockroach like says to me, well, it doesn't actually talk to me, but like I could feel like what it was. I understood that it was talking to me, and it was just like I deserve to live too. And I was like, well, I'm not going to kill you, but I just find you. And it was like, what? And I was like, I just find you very unattractive. Like, I think you cockroaches are probably the most unattractive things on the planet. And it was like, well, what do you think you guys look like to us? And I was just like, okay, fair point. But it was just like, oh, I just wish you would not be in my room ever, or anywhere that I am. If you would avoid each other, my life would be a little bit better. And it was like, you probably should integrate some of that. You probably should be a little, like, learn to be okay with cockroaches. And I was like, yeah, maybe.
Whoa. Did it leave so you can go to the bathroom?
It did. It finally left, and I felt a lot better when the cockroach left. But I have been thinking about, like, man, maybe I should not hate cockroaches so much.
Yeah. Well, you had that experience.
I had that dream before.
With that whole dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cockroaches. Yeah.
They're a difficult one for me. They're a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I have a cat, so I always like kind of want to get her involved and just be like, well, you know, it was the cat. I mean, the cat is
it's their nature. You can't do anything about it.
Right. But no, I'm not going to lie to you. I kill cockroaches, especially because here, like, they're just around, and they're around like your food and stuff. And I don't know.
They're awful. I killed them too, but
yeah,
I don't know.
But anyway, it's a good thing about the consciousness of being aware of it. And also, like, just asking them not to be in your space. Just be like, can you be in a different space? And I'll try not to be in your space, and you try not to be in my space.
It is cool that you exist, and that's great. And like,
and we need you
in the chain of
Right.
whatever is in existence, but just
Right.
yeah, not in my space.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. So you had that really good experience too, especially with the dude in the tree.
Yeah, the dude in the tree was awesome. I need to draw him. And I remember thinking like, man, I wish I had a pen and paper. Like I should draw with this in this state. This is what I should be doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's not like this is kind of like what I like about these kind of psychedelic type stuff is it's never like, if you ever get like really drunk, like you forget your memory and it's almost a little bit like your personality is altered in ways, and like you say things that you normally wouldn't, or if you were sober. And this is not like that. It's still you. It's just and you're still in control of your thoughts and stuff, but it's just completely taking you into another dimension. So when you come back, you still have the entire memory of it, which is nice.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. But, and did you ever get to the point of like, of a fear where you have this anxiety, or because like for me, and not that I've done a lot of hallucinogens, but even either with pot or sometimes even with mushrooms, in my experience, like at the beginning, it would be this anxiety feeling that would be like not a super panic, but I'd have to get that under control.
Well, yeah, not knowing what to expect, like when you have the time dilation, for me, like the time dilation never went away. It was always there, but like I eventually just got used to it. But it's kind of like riding on a skateboard where you're like, oh, I'm going to fall off. And like, you don't know how, I didn't know how far I was going to fall off or how long this was. Yeah. So there was a little bit of anxiety about like, oh, like, I'm not so sure I like this, or, but then the guide that we did it with, his name is Guru Gee, and he was also on it, but he was so intuitive about knowing when to say like, breathe in deeply, all the way in, breathe out slowly. And like he would like, just as if you were about to go into like a dark place or something, he would pick up a guitar and start singing a song. He was really good at bringing you back, and keeping the whole experience positive. So I do think, had I just done it by myself for the first time in the woods, I would have been like, like I don't think I would have handled that as well. But he
was a very good guide.
He was a very good guide, and I think that experience that's also why I think people shouldn't mess around with psychedelics solo.
Exactly.
Maybe after you know what you're doing and you know what to expect, sure, but like, no,
right.
if you're not very experienced, and like I'm not, you definitely you need a guide.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, in here in Oaxaca, there are a lot of families that guide people with mushroom trips. So that's pretty common. I mean, sometimes people just buy them and do them because they either know or they don't really want to have a family there, or like a person guiding them through it. But anyway, that's pretty common too.
I mean, there was a 16-year-old girl in our ceremony doing it, like with her parents. So like the family was, so it was, but I actually liked that. It felt better because it felt like I'm not doing something that is going to be like killing me, or like I'm going to get some
right. And was that all of their first time, or
no,
the parents had done it before?
Yeah, even the 16-year-old had done it. I was the only one it was their first time.
Wow. And they were from Colombia, the family?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Great.
It was definitely worth doing, I think.
So, and then you said that there was a chance for you to go back there and study under a shaman. Like, what was that about?
Oh yeah, there was this like he was a MoMA is what they call it, and it's this somebody from the Sierra Nevada up north, and they don't come out very much. And we went to Lake La Tota with him, which is a really beautiful lake, and did like cook some like it was like some earth energy healing ceremonies, and no drugs or anything were involved. It was just like giving meditation and chanting to earth, basically. And he claims, he's from a tribe that puts the kids in darkness for like 8 years or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and I had talked about that before, and I thought like, oh, I want to meet somebody from that. And of course I met somebody from that tribe, and he was like a shaman from them, and he's the same. We were both born in like 1982, and like, so we were like the same age, and he, you know, he was like going to be running a school, and like my friend Brian's like actually going to go take the couple of courses from him or whatever this summer. But ultimately I don't speak Spanish, and I had no idea what the hell he was talking about ever. And then like I was just going like, there's no way I'm going to learn Spanish well enough to take a class on magic by June. So I mean, by the end of the week I was like, muy bonito, like ¿Cómo estás? ¿Dónde está baño? So like, but like I'm not going to be able to be like higher concepts. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that you have to have, yeah, I guess with this course. That sounds cool. Like, so what was the course on magic though? Like, what would you have learned?
I don't know. Like they do some kind of energy healing, and then they have some sort of way in which they see the world differently. Like they're not really involved with society much. So they're a very isolated community, and they have, but he said that the world is off balance right now in terms of there's not enough people focusing on their spiritual health. So he needs to bring some light out into the rest of the world. So we'll see.
So that's why he wants to do these classes, so that people would come and they would be the people that bring them to the other world.
He thinks that some of their knowledge needs to be spread instead of just being isolated within their community. So whatever, Brian will have to just translate for me.
Yeah, so maybe you'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, I'm not gonna actually do the school because
we'll just tell you what it was
about.
Yeah,
he can just tell me what he learned, and I'll do other stuff that I can get.
Yeah. Well, with
Plus,
this
you also, we were supposed to buy him a donkey. I didn't feel like buying a donkey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You were like to get around, or as a gift, or what?
As a gift for him, like that's the payment he wanted for school.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And I'm going like, I don't even know I don't know who you are, and I'm supposed to buy you a donkey so I can go to Hogwarts. Like, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've done crazier things, I'm sure, but you know.
Right. And how long? It was all the month of June?
Yeah, or like 2 weeks. Like it's a 2-year program, and you're supposed to come. Like he gives you assignments all the time, and then you're supposed to come to see him for 2 weeks every 6 months.
Wow, kind of reminds me of Carlos Castañeda. Anyway, that was a story.
Yeah, he had a thing.
Don Juan. Yeah, it was this guy. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It was a series of books that were kind of like anthropological and fiction mixed at the same time. It was really hard to tell what the truth was in any of these books, but supposedly this anthropologist went to go study with people in northern Mexico about like peyote and different plant medicines. And then his series of books are about all these different experiences. But there were people along the way who had like come to study under other shaman or like medicine women. And so it just kind of reminds me of that. It was like the point, like that he was being taught all these things, and so were these other people, but he was like doing it from a very like supposedly like academic way. But then in the end, it didn't wind up like that because of like not the conflict, but just the difference in cultures. So it was just this clash kind of, but this whole series came out of it. I think it was written in like the 1970s, maybe.
Yeah, I've heard of those books. I just didn't know what they were about. I just know that I have them on my extensive reading list of things I need to get around to.
Yeah, they're one of the original like where people that are interested in maybe occult or something that's, I don't know, shaman stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that like they talk about how these momas are they like leave their body and astral project like all the time. Like they'll be sitting there like chewing this stuff, but they're not really there. They're somewhere else. And
yes.
And they talk about exercises on really how to open the third eye and how to see what else is going on, and how to be in multiple dimensions at once. So it is
consciously in multiple dimensions.
Consciously in multiple dimensions at once.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah,